Well, tonight some corporations from throughout the United States and other parts of the world are committing millions of dollars to rebuild one church. Of course, it's not just any church, it's a MacDaddy, right? There's the fire of the Cathedral of Notre Dame that got all the world's attention, right? Most of us here covered the story all day Monday, and we really believed for a while there this entire thing would just come crashing down to the ground. But it was saved through the efforts of some lucky and some very hard-working firefighters. And now, in what seems like a really nice gesture, I mean, it really is, right? Companies like L'Oreal and others all over the world are donating a combined $800 million toward the restoration of this thing when last we checked. That's good, right? Might be more. Now I'm going to show you some other churches. These are also church fires. One of the many that I could show you across the south of the United States, where mostly poor African Americans attend services. Many of them have very little money, and many of these churches were burned to the ground, and there has been no corporate outpouring, unlike what's going on in Notre Dame, to somehow try and rebuild them. In fact, look at this. 3 churches, all attended predominantly by African Americans. There's St. Mary's, there's Mount Pleasant, there's Greater Union. Those are the 3 churches right there, all just within a couple of miles apart, were set on fire earlier this month. Not only did the corporate community not step in to rebuild them by handing over millions of dollars, in fact, you're going to be almost freaked out by who is the person police say is responsible for burning down this church. You may have seen his picture there a minute ago, and Kevin put it up, those 3 shots, and he was one of them. Michele Greenstein is joining us now to bring us up to date on this. This is just an amazing story. Take it away.
Right. I mean, what we're talking about is 3 historically black churches being burned to the ground. And let's not forget that attacks on black churches have long been a way to intimidate communities of color in this country. So the person that was taken into custody last week in connection with these crimes is named Holden Matthews. He was arrested quickly. He was called a threat to public safety. And this investigation, for which the FBI and the ATF are assisting local police departments, said that he bought a gas can and a lighter just hours before the first fire started. And the Louisiana State Fire Marshal said that on his phone, they found photos of the fires as they were starting.
So they got the goods on this guy. They
got him.
They've got a ton of evidence against him. Now tell us who he is.
Sure. So this man who was charged Monday, 3 charges of hate crimes, 2 of simple arson and 1 of aggravated arson. We found out that he's actually the son of a sheriff's deputy in Louisiana named Roy Matthews.
Stop. Let's take that in for a moment. I want you to take in what Michele just said. In Louisiana, the Deep South, 3 churches, predominantly African American, are burned down by the son of a lawman, of a sheriff's deputy.
Right, supposedly supposed to be protecting communities. And this man, Roy Matthews, claims that he knew nothing about his son's activities. And interestingly enough, some earlier reporting was saying that he turned his son in, but it turns out those reports were false.
Oh, and by the way, I'm a former cop beat reporter. Can I tell you how this works? If you're a privileged person, usually if your skin is a little lighter and you got a less pigmentation, you get a call from the police and they say, would you like to turn yourself in? If you're not a powerful person and you're usually either Hispanic, African American, or another minority, you don't get that call.
Poor, yeah.
They come, they knock down your door and they drag you out. I mean, let's just be honest, okay?
Yes,
so the credit about, he turned himself in. Yeah, he turned himself in because he was given the opportunity to.
Right. Well, the claim is that the father turned his son in. But let's get into what a lot of corporate media reports are focusing on, because I think this is actually kind of interesting. And this actually originates from a press conference by the officials in this case, meaning the cops. They're saying that black metal music has maybe influenced this young man, this 21-year-old's decisions. And they say this because of social media posts, because he wrote and performed a song about church burning. And black metal is kind of this genre that falls under the umbrella of heavy metal. And there is a neo-Nazi problem there for sure. A lot of this is just like white power kind of dressed up in spikes. And there's a history of church burning for sure. But I think the issue here is that no genre of music created white supremacy. anything is just an outlet for it, just the way that Reddit is. So a lot of these authorities and corporate media are really fixating on this man's music taste and letting, obscuring the real issues.
Note to NBC, CNN, and the rest. The music did not burn down the churches. It did not light the match. This suspect did.
Right, just like Marilyn Manson didn't, shoot up Columbine.
In Columbine. Thank you, Michelle.
Sure.
Great story, great conversation. I'm Rick Sanchez. You found us on YouTube, and that's awesome. But you know what? I'm also live every night at 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern on DirecTV and Dish and cable and satellite, the RT app, and Pluto TV. I'll see you there.